Hey YouTube. I'm recording now. So the plan today to draw food. I'll go over like what kind of food it is as we get to it. But taking it easy as usual. Maybe even more so than usual. But I guess that depends on how much detail I end up going to when sketching the food out and stuff. Because while we're not gonna color it, that does mean that I should add other detail in, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm also gonna try like messing around with different brushes and stuff like that, so I'm excited for that. Oh, you know, last week I was talking about the interview with Naoki Urasawa and um Yonema Yo, Yonemai. I like abbreviated the heck out of her name, but that they did for Pluto. Um, and I was like, I have this series of short stories by Urasawa. It's like a manga collection. I was like, he seems like the kind of guy who really likes a whole bunch of like older rock and stuff like that. So I decided to like give manga short stories a reread. It's been a long time since I've like initially read them. And I totally forgot that like he literally has a travel log of when he went to LA and like went to a whole bunch of concerts and stuff. Like in one of them he literally like goes to a concert. Hold on. Yeah, he goes to Desert Trip. Desert Trip was a rock festival held at an oasis-like location. The 3 day lineup was killer. It really was. It was Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan on Friday, Paul McCartney and Neil Young on Saturday, and Roger Waters and The Who on Sunday. It looks like he went on the second day for Paul McCartney. Oh, it's very funny. He also like got to meet one of the previous presidents of like a record company or something. Because he was also recording a song while he was there. He did like a little mini concert, I think. A private party. Yeah. I'm looking through it now as we're going. And it's literally called the LA Music Travelogue. But it's very funny that like I totally said it offhandedly, but he very obviously like has an interest in music. The exact type that I said. It was very funny. It's very funny to realize. It also made me very interested in reading 20th Century Boys because I've heard about it for so long. It's just one of those popular ones, one of those popular classics, so to say. And it's just never been somewhere that I can read it. And now that I've like seen more of his stuff, like in a general sense, I'm kind of interested, you know? Hello! Welcome on in, Xylo17. Welcome on in. No, you're not interrupting. That's just how stream goes, you know? Um, but I'm interested now in like seeing what 20th Century Boys is all about. Never available when I try to read it anywhere. So I gotta find somewhere where I can read it. How are you doing today? I apologize. I took a bite of a chip. I'm good, and you? I am good as well. I've had kind of a slow start today. Not a whole lot's happened. I think this chip got stuck in my gums. Hold on, I gotta drink some water. Good to stay healthy and hydrating and eating. Yeah. It's just so greasy. Not greasy. What's the word? Salty. I'm eating salt and vinegar chips. So I feel like I need to hydrate a little bit. Fairly often. Until I finish them, at least. But we are drawing food today. Gonna draw lots of. Well, not a lot. We have 6 things to draw. They're not all meals either. Like I have ice cream. That was I can't remember the place. It's a popular chain ice cream place though. I know that. um have some Chinese food, just a burger by itself. Got potato skewers and mac and cheese. One is just like a type of pizza. I'm excited. And even though we're not gonna like color it, I'm still. It's been a long time since I've tried to draw food in any kind of way. Like, I don't think I've tried drawing food since like 2015 or 16, something like that. Books do you read? I quite like psychology and philosophy books. My favorite author is Yoder. That's I don't read a whole lot of normal books, so to speak, like novels and stuff like that. I tried reading a new like murder mystery recently, like a Agatha Christie style. Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie style one. But it was like also kind of modernized. It had like a whole bunch of emails and text messages and stuff like that. Name is Russian, so no hard feelings if you can't pronounce it. Yeah, I tried. I assume that it's like Fyodor, something like that. I've heard the name before, like for characters, but I've never like actually tried to pronounce it myself. So, um, most of the time I read manga and stuff like that. And Bungo Stray Dogs, yeah, exactly. I assume that's who he's based on because all the characters in that are based on authors and stuff. It's my favorite anime. It's very good. I haven't finished. I think the new season. I think there was like some kind of delay or something, and I didn't get to watch like the last few episodes of this season that just went by. It was so good though. I was really into this season. It was I love it. um it's one of those shows that like I think I didn't realize quite how like into the story I was getting until I had like watched a whole bunch of it and then rewatched it. It's very good. It's based on Fyodor's ability. Based on the book Crime and Punishment. Yeah. English confusing today, I apologize. No worries. If I can understand what you're trying to say in a general sense, I understand. I also have trouble with words. English, even though it's my only language. It's just how my brain works. You're good. Don't worry. Um, I kind of like that the series is like based on authors and stuff like that. It also made me very aware that like I have never like considered what kind of books are really popular worldwide. I just know like the ones that are popular in the United States. So English is my native language, so I struggle sometimes. Hey, no worries. We're not drawing just yet. I'm just getting this ready. Ow, ow. My computer's kind of slow today. I edited a video yesterday or last night for YouTube. It was just an edit of our stream last week, so nothing crazy. But I think my computer's tired. I don't talk in there. There we go. Bunko Stray Dogs. It's one of those animes that I really didn't realize how into it I was until I rewatched it and really like I really really liked it. I kind of wish I could read the. They're based on novels, right? It's like a. I know that there's a manga, but I think Stray Dogs. I don't know. It's just a manga. Funny because Dazai was obsessed with was books and was even heavily influenced by, but in the anime, it's such a toxic relationship. Yeah, there are two manga from the anime. Ah, there's a seinen manga. Show primarily on. Yeah. Yeah, there are light novels. I was pretty sure that there were novels, and there are. There's a couple of light novels, but I think they might be like side stories, perhaps. Seems interesting. I guess I had never really taken the time to like really research what it was about. I mean, like what the author felt it was about, or like how they developed it, which is usually something I do with series that I like a lot. My favorite character. mm, I I don't know. I really like. I kind of like everyone's dynamics like all together. Hard to keep up with everything. It's not that it's like hard to keep up with or something like that. It's more so that it's something that I like to do, especially when it's something that has like a lot of different media to it. If like how do I explain this? Like I really like that as a different series example, the um Rage of Bahamut series is also technically like a part of Grand Blue Fantasy, a mobile game. I think that's really cool. But then like the whole development of like having their own animes with their own like original characters and the characters from the game and kind of mixing them together, I think that's very cool. And then like the whole uh addition of video games, like console games and stuff like that, is very cool. So I like it when I like researching series that kind of like try to branch out their medias and stuff like that. Favorite character is Design Fyodor, which is ironic. Yeah. Let's see, I really do like Dazai. I think he's very, very fun character. Very cool at the same time. I'm looking through the character list now, just to like see if there's anyone that like when I read their name, I'm like, oh, oh yeah. Been a while. I thought about all of the characters though. I guess I really like, gosh, what was his name? The Poe? Uh after, yeah. Poe. Yeah. I like Poe. I think just for just because he's kind of funny. Kind of relate to him, which is why I can him, but I'm very intrigued in his nature and personality. Interesting. Yeah, he's definitely like a complicated character. Poe is best boy. Love his raccoon friend. Yeah, I really like that he has like. It's very obvious he has a really like interesting way to like write his stories, but he's like so driven by his desire to like go up against Rampo in some sense that like he doesn't focus on what he's actually good at sometimes. It's very funny. Which is also like what I like about the show. I like that all of the characters seem to have dynamics with each other. There's a lot of stories like even if there are there's a really big cast, you can't always imagine how characters interact together, even when they have really similar interests. So I think it's really a good part of Stray Dogs. Oh, there's a video game. Action role playing game includes side characters that were not found in the anime series. Huh. Interesting. Stage plays, I know about those. Poe and Rampo go hard. Poe is driven to beat Rampo, and Rampo is just so wholesome with Poe. Yeah. They have a very like mentor where the student is actually just trying to like beat the mentor, but the mentor's like, "You're such a good student." Like isn't at all intimidated by them. But at the same time they're almost equals. It's very fun. Multiple light novels have been released, each focusing on a character's story not seen until then. It's often introduced new characters to the series that weren't previously canon. Oh. There's 10 novels in total, only 8 have English translations. Hmm. Kind of give older sibling energy? Yeah, definitely. Oh, I went down a nice little rabbit hole looking at that wiki. Um, something else. I think I also got into Stray Dogs around the time that um D Gray Man was like coming off of hiatus. I wanted something like kind of with the same character energy, but maybe not as like intense of a story, I guess. And I saw a lot of people recommending Bungo Stray Dogs, um, who also were like into D Gray Man, as well as my friends. So it was a nice like side story to that. Not really like related anyways, just it had the same energy. It had the same energy, which is nice because D Gray Man, oh man, it's just taking so long at this point. But I'll always wait for D Gray Man. Probably one of my favorite series is D Gray Man. Alright. We're gonna get started on drawing in a second. Oh, I didn't update my Streamlabs message. I will do that real quick. That is not correct. Whoop. I almost dropped my water bottle on myself. kind of stumbled into Boom Straight Eyes because I like to learn psychology and just different characters and personalities of people amaze me. Yeah, I mean that's a good way to like get into anything, right? I think that's part of the reason that I kind of got into Fate Grand Order or like the Fate series in general is because I found out that like well, I was very into historical stuff or like um historical figures, fictional or not, and Fate has like like anime versions of historical people. So it was very fun to like see how they matched up. Diane Fjorder have such complex personality and character. I just can't help but try to figure everything out. Yeah, it's nice when a series does that. Like they give you something that you're kind of familiar with, but at the same time, like gives you something really interesting to think about in them. Drawing food. Eight, eight, eight. Somewhere. What else do I want this to say? There we go. Okay. Oops. But I think it's fun, especially when you take the or idea, the fact that it's a manga or an anime, because those have tropes in of themselves for those kinds of characters, how they interact. Also satisfies my inner history nerd. Yeah, that's why I like Fate, the Fate series, is because like even if they don't get everything correct, the parts that they do like really interesting things for, um, makes it very fun. Why is this not at all heavy? What the heck? Heavy. Adjusting my pen settings. You can't see it. I apologize. But trying to. This is too spread out. No. Uh, let's let's do this one instead. All right, we're gonna do a general sketch of the food laid all out. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and order are these in? They're not in the same order as that. So this should be burger. Ooh, why is that so crunchy? Yeah, I have to reload. Mac cheese. It's okay if you can't read this. No reference. Ice cream. This is the skewers, and that's the pizza. All right, burger first. Burger first. My handwriting is terrible, so no worries. I it's something like I don't know how it happened, but I started like writing my words very closely together. Again, no idea how it happened, but now they all kind of like cursive into each other, even though it's not proper cursive in any way. And it just became harder and harder to read for people other than me. Sometimes I can't read it myself though, so actually I don't add seeds in it. Oh, I that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna watch Fry Run today. It's a new episode I think came out. Um, if you don't know what that is, it's a currently airing anime about an elf who essentially is just traveling across continent, a magic continent, trying to understand her old friends. She lives like for hundreds of years, like elves do, and she ended up losing her friends to old age after they like saved the world. And it's a very nice manga or anime, and I've been enjoying it. But I think a new episode came out because everyone's posting spoilers on Twitter. Oops, that was the wrong one. And I'm very excited to see it. I feel like it's my standout anime this season. I'm gonna be kind of detailed with my sketches, just so that like going into more detailed sketching or drawing, I have an idea of what the details are. I want to feel better about my own terrible handwriting. I always look up Russian cursive, which instantly makes me feel better. I've never seen like cursive in other languages. I suppose that's not like something I would get exposed to naturally, but I'll look it up. Oh, wow. Actually, that's not too bad. It's a lot like English cursive, but there's a lot more curve to it. Cursive in general, maybe like in any language, is just so hard. It's so difficult. I see that it's also like everything looks almost exactly the same in the curve. It's very funny. I've seen stuff like that in English too, where like the cursive is so intense and like the word is so has so many repeating letters that it doesn't look like it makes sense. And then sometimes people don't know how to write in cursive, so they just like make up how they want it to look. It's so silly. I mean, I do that too, but for artistic purposes. Be like rigid, fluffy. I don't like that. It's not seeds, but the inside is kind of cut, so it's like that. I think so. Sometimes too, I wonder if like you know how a lot of Egyptian language, early Egyptian language or records or in hieroglyphs. I wonder if there was like a cursive form of that sometimes. Like if they needed special records to be written a certain way, or if like pictographic language needed like some kind of special detail or something in order to make it quote unquote cursive. Because I feel like it doesn't make sense how popular cursive is or like how necessary it is when like so many languages use it, but at the same time none of the languages are similar in origin or anything like that. It's interesting. It's interesting to my brain to contemplate at times. Random intervals and so on. This should have ketchup on it. That's a pretty good burger. That's a pretty good burger. I think though, because it's a half-pound burger, the bun needs to be a little bit smaller. Just a tiny bit. Lower it down a little bit. A little bit more. Even more. There we go. And maybe like raise up the center of it because I feel like the cheese is a little too big. Be that big. There we go. No! No pearls. Don't need pearls. Oh, keep misclicking stuff. I guess I'm still not totally used to the Clip Studio tools. I guess I don't switch between the brushes very often though, so it's kind of normal to expect. It's too straight, it needs to curve out a little bit more. This. Yeah, there we go. And I gotta draw the top. Don't forget about the top. There we go. How often I feel like in Bungo there's a lot of food, or maybe I'm just misremembering. I really like the way that that food is drawn in like seasonal anime, because they usually like use it kind of sparingly, but in a really fun way. Maybe I'm thinking of a different show. I feel like I remember a character being very fun, or being very silly with their food. Bungo. It was probably Desire, let's be honest. I feel like Dazai would be like, I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. He'd be one of those. One of those people on the internet. Just a little guy, you can't hurt me. I'm just a little guy. Only I can hurt myself. Or something like that. Cheese shine on it. Yeah, there we go. I also, on the topic of other anime I've been meaning to watch. Did I talk about that? Or was that last week? I was editing the VOD from last week, so I have like all sorts of topics mixed up in my brain. But anime that I'm thinking of watching. Also thinking of watching Pretty Derby, Horse Girl anime. Because I saw a really cool sequence animated for a clip of it on Twitter, and I was like, that looks cool. That looks intense. So I'm kinda interested again. And I watched like the first couple of episodes, I think. Maybe like first four or something like that. I remember her winning and then like getting up on the idol stage. I didn't actually watch the performance episode. But I feel like the anime is very fun. Sorry, I was yawning. Um I feel like the anime is I feel like it was a weird concept. Like people were kinda wondering why it was the way that it was. But then like people kind of got into it. Like it actually was fun, and that's why I'm kind of interested in checking it out. Kind of like chicken, kind of like a chicken sandwich. It's fine. It can stay as a chicken sandwich for a little bit while I lay out the rest of the sketches. This should be mac and cheese, and this was I had mac and cheese with a potato skewer. Oh, it was so good. This was a while ago. Not a while ago. Maybe like 2 weeks ago. Potato skewer was so good. It was so much food. Felt bad I couldn't finish it. It was well worth eating. I'm trying to figure out how to make a spiral skewer. I usually don't have a problem with spiral stuff, but I feel like it's a little different because food has to like be a realistic spiral in some sense. Potato skewers. This one I remember had like a brown lining to it, where like the potato had the potato skin had cooked on the edge of the wedges. I mean, I have a picture of it so I can check it out. Sketched out in a general sense first. I'm not sure how well or like what kind of plating I want for this skewer. Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. There we go. I don't want to just put it in the bowl. I do. I want to like. I gotta restart this. Hold on. Well, maybe not restart it. Let's try this maybe. Then hold on. I, I'm cooking. Let me cook. Let me cook my food. I don't want a perfect circle. Need a decent one. There we go. Then like it's sitting. I gotta turn it the other way. There we go. Because that makes more sense for the angle that it's at. And mac and cheese in here, and it's Kraft mac and cheese, so it's gotta look kind of. Gotta finish the bowl first. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Come on. There we go. It looks like an upside down hat, like an upside down bucket hat. There we go. That's gonna have to be close enough. I think that works best. Erase that. Nope. There we go. And I'll add the details to it separately. Um, mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Oh, I didn't put my tablet up. I mean, you obviously can see what I'm drawing, but there we go. In... That too high? It's too high. That's too low. No, unlock it. There we go. Alright. It doesn't look like mac and cheese. I gotta get more from the center, I think. If I work from the center, it should work. I think I mentioned this a few streams ago. I really like Kraft mac and cheese over most other mac and cheeses. Like even the baked ones sometimes. My aunt makes a really good baked mac and cheese, but I just like the box stuff. This is very Undertale. That chord progression is very Undertale. Alright, let me try now just duplicating this. I think this is a good start. Duplicate. Duplicate. The noodles just multiply. They just keep going. Oops. What's that? That part. Part. And now if I do this. Look at those noodles. Whoops. There. Oh, whoops. There we go. Okay. Take that now. Turn it all around. Duplicate it again. Turn it. Bow, bow, bow. There we go. Now this one. Underneath these ones. Obviously can't fall outside of the bowl. How are we gonna eat it if it's outside of the bowl? It up a little more. Nice, nice. Merge those together. And we're gonna duplicate it one more time. Turn it a little bit more here. Whoops. Mess that up. Nope. Come on. There we go. There we go. There's more water. That's pretty good. Draw a few straight noodles. Edit. Those are a little too repetitive. There we go. That's better. There we go. Mac and cheese. Plus, potato skewer? Potato, potato, potato. I feel like they had a specific name. Tornado potatoes. That's very cute. Oh, that's a wonderful name. I'm thinking I'm gonna call them tornado potatoes. I'm writing down tornado potatoes. Tornado. Let me change this plus to it. And tornado potato. Potatoes. Tornado potato. Look at that. 2 foods nice and sketched out. Have 4 more. Next is ice cream. I don't know how I'm gonna get the detail on this one. I'll have to try. Cold Stone. That's the brand. I remembered. I'm gonna draw the bowl first. There we go. I'm also anime again. Thinking about continuing Jujutsu Kaisen because I saw some cool AMV that was like, wow, that looks pretty interesting. Even though like I see people talking about it all the time, and I see clips of it all the time, but like the thing that makes me interested is an AMV. That's kind of funny to me. I had tried reading the manga before the anime actually had started. I've redrawn this line like 10 times already. Oh my god. I tried reading the manga just before the anime started. Well, not just before. It was a good amount before. Um and I liked it. I didn't get super far though. Um, like I maybe saw the upperclassmen in the manga. It's not correct. How do I do that? What is my problem? What is wrong with this line? It's the way that I'm looking. Oh, that might work. No. Please, I just want to draw a line. It's just a line. Too flat. Is that closer? Oh. I don't like this. Why is this so hard? Maybe I'm going too fast. Maybe that's the problem. That'll have to do. That'll have to. That'll have to be it. What was I saying? Jutsu Kaisen. I was into the manga, and when the anime started, I watched like maybe 3 episodes, maybe a little bit more. No, a little bit more than that. Not a whole lot though. Um, and it was okay. I feel like I didn't want to get overhyped. I don't like getting caught up in mainstream hype sense. I don't mind watching like mainstream shows. That's not what I mean. But like, I don't like the way people sometimes talk about mainstream shows. Like, it's nice when people are excited, but then like for some reason there's always a comment or two that are like, it's so mid though. And I'm like, it's a mainstream show. Of course it's gotta be a little mid. But I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen is very mid. Like even as someone who stopped kind of interacting with it, I'm pretty sure it's not all that mid. I think it's pretty fun. Well, I guess fun things can be mid. But I've seen a lot of mid anime. Let's be real. Done quite a few over the last something. It should be like not one of those swirl ones. It's one of those like scoop ones. Got it has some big old banana slices in it. Hold on. Wow, I like this pen. This is nice. This pen. This brush. It's called a mechanical pencil. So it was like, this pen. It's literally a digital pen. Alright, this music isn't the vibe anymore. Hold on. I gotta find something else. I gotta find something. Apologize. See the rest of this. Just list it. Anything like that. Oh. Is this? I think it is. This one's a little. It's not quite the vibe, but I'm feeling it. It hasn't even started yet, but I'm knowing it's got a fun to it that I want right now. There's also cake pieces in this ice cream, so I gotta figure out how to draw those in there. Maybe like that. Gotta draw it kind of melty. This ice cream. What were we talking about? Jutsu Kaisen. I feel like it's happened a lot with the Shonen Jump titles, especially where they get really hyped because the anime is announced. The anime comes out, people are like, "This was so overhyped. It's kind of mid." I'm like, it's literally from the magazine for like young teen boys. Like, it's not gonna be for everyone. Even if it's like kind of action focused, it's not for everyone. That's how I felt about Chainsaw Man, and I really like Chainsaw Man. I feel like everyone kind of they got their expectations a little too high because everyone was like, the Chainsaw Man anime is gonna be it. It's gonna be the best anime. And I was like, well, you're not taking into account that not everyone is interested in what Chainsaw Man's serving. Because it's really not for everyone. It's definitely like a really great story. I would recommend it. But like if you're not into stuff that's kind of edgy, like a like a silly kind of edgy, then it's definitely not like gonna fit your preference. But like if you were never a scene kid, you would not enjoy Chainsaw Man. And not even like you hung out with scene kids or like were a scene kid. I'm saying like if in your heart of hearts you were never a scene kid, like you never enjoyed the music, you never enjoyed the style or anything like that, then you wouldn't enjoy Chainsaw Man. But if you were like secretly a scene kid, if you listened to the music but didn't like dress the way at all or like hang out with the scene kids, you could still like Chainsaw Man. It just depends how like if you got that edgy vibe in you, you know? I love that so much of my language has evolved into you got that vibe. If it's in the vibe, you're in the vibe. If it's vibe, it's vibe. No? It's just what the internet has done to me in some ways. The way they had mixed the yellow cake and banana pieces was very obviously like they hadn't gotten it all the way through it. Mix it all the way through. But they tried. I appreciated. But it was still good. I just like, kind of flipped it to the side that they hadn't totally mixed in. Then mixed it in myself. That look. Ice cream? Hopefully. Get some like ice crystals on there. It's not quite. There we go. That's a little bit better. Maybe I should dress it up a little. Put a mint leaf on the side. No, it's alright. Put a fake logo on the front here. Too big. Gotta zoom in more. Face. It's creamy. Yeah. Like cherry on top. I even gotta detail the container. There we go. Alright, and this is ice cream. I'll just list it as the flavor. It's banana. Hold on. This is kind of long. Ice plus bananas. An actual cake. Okay, next one was an omelet. Oh yeah, this was my special omelet that I made. This is something that I cooked. It had yellow rice. It was like it was almost like pico de gallo rice. Yeah, it was almost like pico de gallo, but it had a whole bunch of yellow rice mixed into it. Really good. Not as many tomatoes. There were still tomatoes, just not as many. It was cooked. I cooked it all into a big old omelet. I think I gotta move the ice cream over. There we go. Then it was a thick. It was a thick one. It was a thick omelette. Peas in it. And it had rice. Corn pieces. It was a lot of food. I think it took me 2 days to finish it. Like on the first day I made it, and then the second day finished eating it. I didn't spend like all day. I didn't spend like all day eating it or something like that. I like ate some of it for breakfast and then saved the rest for the next day. Also for breakfast. And it was very good. Tomatoes in here. There were also some peppers. It was kind of spicy. Had that kick in it. And it was essentially a leftovers meal now that I think about it. So we had the rice as a side dish to something else that we were eating. Remember what? And next day the rice was left over, and I was like, we kept it in the rice cooker, so it was still fine. And I was like, I kind of want to eat it again, but I don't want to like just eat a bunch of rice. I want something like more breakfasty than that. So I was like, what if I made an omelet and then I had the rice with it? And then as I was like getting the omelet ready, I was like, brain blast. What if I put the rice in the omelet? What if I put it into it? And then I ate that. And that was how I came to make this. I gotta make it a little bigger. It's too tiny. There's too much space here. Was some cheese in it, so I gotta like figure out how to capture that. I know we're essentially listening to Halloween music, but like I wanted something different, you know? You listen to the same several playlists for some odd weeks, you're like, I'm ready for something new. Doesn't matter what it is. I just want something different. Bigger. Oh, I know what I can do. Eggs. Not structurally sound. Flat edge. I like those brown spots that were cooked onto it. This pretty structurally sound. It was essentially an omelet burrito. Hello, welcome in, Jacob. I am drawing some food that I have cooked. And I'm drawing these for like a blog post that I'm making. It's just like I'm just gonna talk about why I make food sometimes and like what food I enjoy. It's just gonna be a big old like, hey, I like food. This is the food that I like kind of post. But I wanted like the visual flair. It's like, why don't I just draw? Is that cheese? Easy. That's cheese. I got kind of intense music playing, but like, gosh, I was just tired of my usual background music, so nothing spooky happening. It's just I wanted something different. I think now I have to change the plate, or I can get rid of the plate since I technically don't have a plate for the burger either. I'll do that. No plate. It can just be floating in space. And I forget. Okay. I was gonna say I forget how to spell omelet, but and if it's not spelled correctly, it's close enough. Unless I wish I actually knew what kind of rice it was called. Rice slash Tagalog. Nope, spelled it wrong. Spelled it wrong. I'm googling the name. Make sure I spelled it correctly. Oh, gotta spell it very often. Tagalog. I thought so. Guile. Guile. It was very good. Breakfast recommendation 10 out of 10. You're looking for something with a good kick in it. good omelet, some rice in it, some yellow rice, and pico de gallo. We're essentially sketching these out in decent detail, and then I'm gonna go in with like a different type of brush and detail them out even more. We're not gonna actually color them because I kind of want it to be like kind of sketchy. I might like do some wash colors on top of them. Nothing crazy. Well, this is the one that I had last night. I had skewers and lo mein. It's so good. This one will have to be on a plate. There's lo mein, but let's lay out the skewers first. This is lo mein. Sorry, I thought I heard someone. I think it was my dogs. I think it is my dogs. I think it's my dogs scratching. They're like doing that leg thing. Where's my I'm good. I keep hearing it and thinking that someone's like knocking, but they're not. Gotta ignore it. Oh, my lo mein was especially good. It had some egg, like some fried egg in it. I ordered it from this like place close by, and they had an option where like you could add stuff into it because it was a plain lo mein dish. I was like, do I want to add anything? Let's look at the options. There was an option to add fried egg. It was best choice. Best choice I could make. It was so much better than usual, which is weird because I think lo mein by itself is pretty good. For some reason, adding in the egg just really like made it all come together, you know? It wasn't like greasy. It wasn't. I expected the egg to kind of absorb some of the grease from the lo mein or like oils from it, but it didn't have that like vegetable oiliness that you usually get. So good. It just stayed like a nice fluffy fried egg. That's the other thing. It wasn't just like a crispy fried egg or something like that. It was still fluffy. That was fantastic. And I had it with meat skewers. I don't think they were called yakitori skewers, but like they were similar, you know. They were the big hunks of meat on sticks. And it was really good. The edges of them were really crispy. Like it it had that like grilled texture to it. Um And because of that, I assume that they like actually grilled it or something along those lines, and the sides of it got really crispy. So good. It wasn't too crispy either. It was just like the right amount of crisp. It wasn't burnt, still kind of flavorful. It was good. Then move it over. Maybe flip it around. That way it has a little variety in the way it looks. And I need to add onto this end. There we go. Rid of the sticks. So this side's kind of fat. Scavenger's Reign. I was talking about this like last week. I was like, the music just now reminded me of it. It was coming out like on a weekly basis. It's over now, like the full season is out. So I'm excited to watch it. But it was interesting to see that that was how it was getting released. But like, there we go. Felt like I was kind of surprised by that. Didn't seem like it seemed unusual for like HBO Max to do a weekly release for something like that. But it turned out to be pretty good for it. All right, now I'm gonna add some of the fried egg in. All right, let me put that on a plate. Is maybe in. Wow, I can't. I just can't do shapes today. I struggle with the line, struggling with the circle. I'll have to be close. Right. I feel like it can be a little bit bigger. What's the other one? Pizza. Yeah, it can be a little bigger. To form it a little bit. All right. I'm gonna write what it is. It has to go. With Friday. Us. Is it yakitori? Yaki. It is. It is yakitori. It's not exactly yakitori because like it doesn't have like the in between it, but it's the same kind of meat, just cooked differently. I'm sure that makes it something else. If I figure out what that is, I'll like fix it. But oh, excuse me. Oh, it's not yakitori. Cause this. No, it is because it was also chicken. Nice, nice. All right, one more, which is Stranger Things pizza. I am. We've been getting some like oven pizzas for like easy meals, but also are like taste good. And dude, the Stranger Things pizza, so good. Maybe I'll do. I think it's like a three meat kind of pizza almost. Trying to lay out the toppings. And the pepperoni slices are so good. They're like just thick enough that they don't do that like weird curling thing that some other ones do. Don't like it when it does that. Then it's crispy and have any flavor in it essentially. But when they're cut just thick enough, and it's really good. The long pieces. And something about the crust, like the way it kind of fluffs up, is it makes me feel like it should have cheese in it. It makes me feel like it should be a stuffed crust pizza, but it's not. I wish it was though. Oh man, then it'd be like absolutely fantastic. It'd be the best pizza there ever was. At least, like, for home cooking. Alright, now the music's too scary. Actually, it's too scary. I know that one that we were just listening to is fine because, like, I've heard other people listen to it on stream. Oh, hold on. Dude, then don't stop here. Back to sessions. Diana. Okay. I saw something I'm gonna watch later. Speaking of, I actually gasped there. Um, Hololive, Maureen, she did a Showa era concert for free, and it's incredible. I haven't finished watching it because I realized that the song that her and Guru were singing was the one from the music video, and I was like, I want to see the music video. I want to see it. So I went and watched it, and I stopped the concert, or stopped watching the concert, but I gotta go back and finish it because there was like a good maybe 10 or so minutes left. And I gotta say, that music video, given it's giving girls love. It's giving uh monster girlfriend. Oh, you know that Vocaloid song that was popular in like 2014, maybe earlier than that. um, my monster boyfriend or something like that, where like my crush got eaten by a monster or something like that, where this girl has a crush on a boy from her school, and they both find like a little monster hiding out in the woods or like in the rice fields or something, and they're like feeding it all summer, and then all of a sudden at the end of summer vacation it eats the boy just as they've gotten like super close. But then it turns out the monster like took on her crush's like thoughts or something, and they like try to go to school after. It was such a good song. Um, and it was a very Vocaloid song. I'll be real. Um, what new music video with Gura and Marin very much reminds me of that. Gives that energy at the very end. Not at the very end. Throughout it. And at the end. But it was good. You like city pop? Very much. Very much will enjoy that song. How do I get? Okay. It's some za. And that's my food. How about that? Make it a little bit bigger, the pizza. And I think I gotta adjust the position of everything. These two, bring them up a little. These two, a little bit over. These two. Right. Add. Did I just mess something up? What happened? I saw something change. Maybe I didn't. I want it to have kind of a sketchy feel. Jotted it down in a notebook. Or like tried to make a fancy page in my notebook for it. Hey. Hold on. I'll get it. I'll get it. It's getting there. Two days. Two J's. Is that where the name Two J's comes from? Because of 2 days? It can't be. It can't be that simple. Actually, that's pretty complicated when I think about it. Name origin. I'm not the only one to Google this. Oh my gosh. They use the comma portion of both of their names. Oh, the J's. Two. But why is it? But why is it TOO? Oh, because it's two, like TWOJs. But that doesn't explain why it's OO. Huh? Huh? I'm going down a rabbit hole I don't need to go down. Speaking of rabbit hole, the new the new Eve Online video by Frederick. Very good. Did you know that he's a VTuber? He's a part of Astroline, the group that they started. I didn't realize that until I saw that Nightmind is also a part of that group. I was like, Dang, he's leaving the furries behind for VTubing. I mean, I'm sure he's still a bit of a furry, but does he actually ever admit that he's a furry? Does he just use the furry look? Menu today's. It's fine. It works. It gives that handmade aspect, you know, where like they didn't quite think it all the way through, but they still put it down. I'll lay down some shapes behind everything, merge it all together. Put some fun shapes. A triangle. Let's do one as a star. Oh, but Frederick's video. It was very good. I am not still I still don't like totally understand everything that happened. I haven't actually finished it either. Like I think I maybe have an hour of it left. Um but it's very good so far. I've really enjoyed it. And I was watching also Super Eye Patch Wolf's like VOD from Slay the Princess, I think it is. And he mentions how he had talked to him about like how long the next Down the Rabbit Hole video was gonna take. And he was like, yeah, it's probably gonna take me another 2 months. That was 2 years ago. And I was like, wow, he really went down a rabbit hole, but I thought that was very like, I feel like I've heard of that happening to not just him but other VTubers as well, especially those who do video essays, where like they have a really good grasp on what they're making for their video, and somehow when they, even though they expect it to like not take very long, they're like, I'll have it done by this date, probably. And that probably is always the part that like jinxes it for them. They always have to wait like twice as long, if not more. I am slightly experiencing that. I'm thinking the video is going to take a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I'm still aiming for getting it done this week. This week? I think it's this week. No, next week. This week? I can't remember. Hold on. I'll check. I'll check right now. How about that? This week, yeah. Because I now have pretty much all of the writing done. There's like one more section that I have to like think through. It's the third section, the last section, because I don't think I know how to close out a video. I don't know how to close out a conversation. I've seen it before, but like I don't think I really, I've never done this before. I've never made like a video like this before. So it's like I'm unsure of how to finish it. Like what is the appropriate, oh look, this is my first video, I'm so glad that you watched. what's the appropriate degree of like saying that? Or like, do I just forgo that altogether and just act like it's the end of any other stream or anything? Like, do I even say anything at the end? After I've made my big conclusion on whatever my video is about, like, I don't even have that final conclusion yet. But when I do, is that gonna be it? Will I have anything more? It's a lot to think about. But I'm excited. I gotta erase this a little bit here. Oh, I did it! Look at that food. Oh my gosh, that only took like 2 hours. Not even. Because I didn't start exactly when the stream started. Wow. Alright, we'll go in now with other details. Actually, I want to do one more pattern. The back. Let's see if I can do that. This is going to be a big old duplication. Duplicate. Duplicate. Oh, wait. Down. And duplicate. Oh, that's not correct. Duplicate. No, I undid it. There we go. Alright, now I want to rotate it. That. That. Makes 3 of them. Merge those. Oops. And duplicate that one more time. Whoops. Over. Duplicate again. And I don't want it to be intense. I just want it in the background. Just to fill up the really big empty. Did I explain the half-pound burger? Did I explain that I made that? We had a whole bunch of like leftover burger meat, a bunch of leftover ground beef, and I just like I needed to use it up. Like, you know, let's just make one big patty. Just slap it together. Put it on a burger. I mean, cook it first and then put it on a burger. And it was good. I very much enjoyed it. So, a little too distracting when it's under the letters as well. It wasn't a crazy story. It's just, you know, had a lot of meat. Had to use it. I like this pencil or pen that I ended up using. The mechanical pencil brush. It's quite nice. I kind of like the I wasn't sure about like the how wonky it kind of felt. I felt like it was really, you can see in like this line here especially, or even in the circles, like it's got a wonkiness to it. I wasn't sure that I liked that when I started drawing, but I do like that it's kind of a imperfect texture to it. Unless, in fact, it was just that my Clip Studio has the pen pressure too high or something like that. That would suck. But would also convince me to just turn off the pen pressure for the. Oh no, it doesn't have any pen pressure. That's fine. All right. I like that. I'm gonna add some more texture. Hold on. I gotta add a couple more. Trying to just draw them in is a little bit more difficult. There we go. That should be good. Now. Or no. Textures. Other text. I try crayon. Too dark. Heavy. Oh. Ooh. Oh. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Hold on. Hey, yo, actually, that gives it kind of a glitch look. Kind of a glitchy look. Like that. I think it might be too much for this. Yeah, it's a little too dark for that. Maybe if I use gray? Oh, and it needs to be softer than that. No, that's not dusty enough. Um, oh, I have a brush. Might be nice, right? Yes. I'm liking it. Okay. This is just as like a little, as like a little thing. As like a little shading thing. Okay. I was gonna do more details on the potatoes, but I kind of like them the way they are. I'm kind of low res speak. I'm trying cleaning up the outside. See if it still looks alright. I think it looks as good on the bowl. Maybe I just didn't like place it correctly. A little too intense. Hold on. That's a little bit nicer. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. After I erase a little bit of it, like for the curving. I like that. Oh, that makes me so happy. I've wanted to try out this cross hatching brush for a while, so glad that I could find somewhere to use it. It'd be nice if I had a screen tone one. I don't think I do. I don't think I've seen one even. I was grabbing food. You probably heard the door. Let's be real. I was talking at the same time, so. Gee. Okay. Let's see. Where was I? Screen tones. I would like it if there was like a screen tone one, because I don't like applying the image texture unless I have like it physically, you know. But if there was a brush version, I really like that. Have to be have to line itself really well though, you know. Like this one, the cross hatching on it. Uh, sorry, I forgot I was using the eraser. The cross hatching on it is like rotating as it's moving the brush, and it moves it the other way as well, like depending on what direction the pen is going. So it it wouldn't function if I was using the screen tone version the same way, because it'd probably get like it would probably have a hard time applying it if I had to go backwards with my pen. Like if I had to go up or down and then up, down and then up. Like it would probably do something similar to this where it's just slightly overlaying where it previously was. Even if it was just, even if it didn't rotate the way that this one does, it would still have that effect. I imagine. If there was one. Maybe there is one that doesn't do that at all. I just don't know about it. I'm eating spaghetti, by the way. That is running supper update for today. Like we're using up the ham that was in the fridge. I I went to take a bite just now. It just fell out of my mouth. It didn't even make it in. Just straight fell off the fork. I like it. Sorry, I got very quiet. I was trying to finish it up so I could eat more food. I like it. I'm definitely gonna add like a wash of color though, because I feel like it needs it. It'll do it some good. Shaping this one. And shading. And color and a layer beneath all of that. Do it in, I want it to be really kind of a nice wash texture. That's the one that doesn't show up. Show up. This one. For some reason I can't get some of these to like show up by themselves. I don't know what it is. Oh, that one. This is the one that I was using for a while to like get my colors in, because I'm used to using like washed out textures for a coloring style. Oh, I kind of. Hello, Oddly. Come on in. We're drawing some food. Well, I've already drawn the food. I'm also eating at the same time. Right now, I just got my food. I got spaghetti. This is what we got so far. I've decided that I do add some like wash colors on it. I thought I was gonna do it in just black and white, but I think some color will do it some good. Simple colors, probably, like almost color blocking. You probably heard that crunch. That was me eating some bread. I apologize. That's good. That's some good bread. But yeah, this is all food that I've like in the last. I was gonna say the last 2 weeks, but I don't think that's correct. I think I had that burger like 3 or 4 weeks ago, almost a month ago, and the omelet was like a few months ago. It was a while ago. The only thing on here that I didn't make was the ice cream and the lo mein. I mean, technically the Stranger Things pizza too, because that was an oven baked pizza. But you know, I still had to like cook it. I still did the cooking part. All pretty good food though. I literally had that ice cream and the lo mein yesterday. So good. The lo mein especially. I liked the way I added a fried egg to it. They like cooked it and mixed it in there. It was really good. How are you doing, Oddly? Having a good day so far? Or a night? Not too bad. How am I doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I was gonna say I'm doing well as well, but I'm doing well. um, I've had a pretty slow day. Quiet night, at least for me. Quite the same here. My family went to a concert yesterday, minus the fireworks. Why you got fireworks going? Something happening? Some event? Um, my family went to a concert yesterday. They got back this morning, so it was a pretty chill night. And then it's been a pretty chill day since they got back as well. They're tired. Good. The bread is really good today. Pretty sure it's for Diwali. Ah, I see. You know, that would make sense. I some of my neighbors were partying, something like that. Last night and the night before, or not before, last night, and I think they're starting tonight as well. Heard some music going earlier. Though it could also just be using it. What could it be on bonfire tonight? On bonfire night. Fireworks definitely can't go on a bonfire. So that's good bread. Sorry, it's really good bread. Alright. I'll down some more colors before I eat more spaghetti. I think I want to color the shapes first. I want yellow. I want this shape to be yellow. I tried playing around with my brushes today, so it probably looks a little different from usual in the style at least. Especially since I'm drawing food. I don't get to draw food very often, though I kind of like to. Nothing wrong with a good piece of bread. That's what I'm saying. And I think I want the star to be pink. I used to draw food a decent amount for school. Like one of my one of my final pieces was literally like a plate of food. I think this should be this kind of yellow as well. This is mac and cheese. And potatoes. Supposed to be a little bit more. Wash it with a little bit of brown. A little bit. Now it's not brown enough. Bottom there. Maybe on the inside, that's the problem. Yeah, there we go. Potatoes. Tornado potatoes. As I have learned that they're called. And I think is very cute. And so we'll call them that for the end days. Until the end of days. Scatter some orange in there with the mac and cheese. A bit more of that. And the omelet needs to yellow too. I'm sticking to like the same color range. That way it's not too distracting. I wanted to have like a nice simplicity to it. Can you remember the last time I ate mac and cheese? Oh, mac and cheese, probably one of my favorite things. Aside from chocolate. I really like Kraft mac and cheese. Just the boxed mac and cheese. I like baked mac and cheese too, but for some reason I can't get enough of the boxed one. So good. This was kind of brown. Red in places. There's a little rice and tomatoes. And some nice low cheese. But I really don't know what it is. I can agree with you on the chocolate part. Yeah, chocolate is the best. There's this like, I don't know if it's like a myth or something like that. But like one of those things that people say where whatever your mom ate when she was pregnant with you for like cravings is what ends up becoming your favorite food. And that's kind of true for me. I really, really like chocolate milk and mac and cheese. And that was like the one thing that my mom could like eat without being sick. She was pregnant with me. That looks good. And to this day, mac and cheese, Kraft mac and cheese, and chocolate milk. Chocolate of any kind really is really good, but like chocolate milk, especially sometimes, is awesome. This, oh, what was I just using? This, yes. Especially if you make your own bars, then make cookies with said chocolate. I've never made my own chocolate. I've had like pre-made chocolate stuff that you can like melt down and or like break apart to make into your own recipes. But I've never like properly made chocolate, you know? It's just one of those things never gotten to do. We've made like hot chocolate bombs before. Where like you take pieces of chocolate and melt them into a circle pan piece and then let them cool in that and put hot chocolate on the inside or like hot chocolate mix and then seal it together with like by like melting the edges and like putting the melted edges together, letting it cool down, and then like putting it in hot chocolate or hot milk. Hot milk or hot water. Hot milk preferably because it's like actual chocolate. And then it like opens up by itself and like you get to mix in the hot chocolate. It's very fun. I'm sure you've seen them before, hot chocolate bombs, but that's the only time that I've like interacted with chocolate in a way that was unique, you know? Tempering chocolate is a pain in the backside, but definitely worth it. Sounds nice. We're gonna try it. Maybe I'll try it one of these days. If craving my craving hits and I'm like, it's time for chocolate. And I can like find some way to make my own, I'll give it a try. Let's see. Oh, that's good. Yeah, there we go. That's not washy enough. Need to be bigger. There we go. Tempering chocolate, though, especially, it sounds difficult. I don't know that I trust myself to be able to do that. Anything that, like, needs a measured amount of heat, I always am worried that, like, I'm gonna burn. Even making, like, or cooking, like, steaks or something like that, I'm always very worried I'm gonna overcook them. Especially since I like mine, I really like steak medium rare. So anytime that there's a heat element involved, I'm always worried that I'm gonna overdo it. That's not water. Hold on. Do this on a new layer. As long as you have a good thermostat, as long as you have a good thermometer, you're good. I think the only one we have is like one of those skewer ones that you use for meat. I imagine that would technically work, but it probably wouldn't. The correct way to use it. Now, oops, please. There we go. That's a bloody burger. That'd be fine. Huh. Well done. I have everything I should need then. I mean, aside from the chocolate ingredients. I want the bowl to be green. Getting a green vibe for some reason. It's not washed enough. Try a larger brush. There we go. Oh, no, I didn't get all the way down. There we go. But I like the idea, too, of, like, making candy. Oh, those old taffy machines, I think are so cool. I was watching some TikTok stuff, and there was this place that was cutting their candy in, like, a really old, like, press cut. It was hard candy, and, like, just as it was cooling, they set it inside of this, like, slab that had a whole bunch of, like, presses on it. Like almost a waffle press. And they folded over another top, or the top part of it, that also had, like, waffle press in it. And when they smashed it together, it would cut the candy. And when they pulled it out, they could just, like, flip the candy out, and it would all just, like, fall apart from each other. Oh, it looked so cool. And I think that's a really interesting thing too. Candy making is, like, the way it sets together and stuff like that. Like, when candy heats and then, like, cools down, and you can, like, just, like, make it break. I think that's really cool. So fun to watch, right? Yeah, it's really, really cool. I was watching, there was, like, one particular one, that one that I was just talking about, that came through, and it was a whole bunch of different people that work at one employee shop, and they all did it a different way. Like they all like pressed it in a different way, which was very funny. Does that green look okay? I think it looks fine. But it made it look it, it made it look very fun to just get to press candy and stuff. Oh, and there was one, it wasn't a candy video, but there was a Japan cooking video where they made um it wasn't those fluffy pancakes, something else. It was some kind of like fluffy souffle like thing, but it wasn't the fluffy pancake things. And it was so fun to like see them take it out. Estella cake? Maybe. Let me look at that up. Oh yes, this was it. It was fun to like see them take it out. I remember watching a like it was late at night one day and I was just browsing through like cable network shows, and one of them was, I think, the international broadcast of NHK, the Japanese like television broadcast. And they had a video, or they had an episode about cakes in Japan. And this one, well, it was like general desserts. Just wish Castella cake tasted better. I don't know that I've actually had Castella cake, but I've seen it before, you know? And this one episode was about some kind of like really fluffy cake. It wasn't the jiggly cake, but it also wasn't the fluffy pancakes, but it was just like a general fluffy cake. Oh, it looks so good. The way that they like cooked it took time, and then when they like take it out of the pan and they like flip it after setting it on like they like set a counterpiece uh a cutting board on top of it and then flip it out onto that, and just the way it like slid out of the pan was very fun to see. It was some kind of like milk cake or something like that. I don't know that it was a Castella one. It was much more mm, airy than that. It wasn't as densely packed, but it still looked good, you know? I think Japanese desserts are always so interesting because they're never super sweet, but they always have a really nice, like subtle sweetness to them. Still a really strong, like, sugar taste, but it's never like the way American sweets are, you know? You can never, like, put it in your mouth and just taste sugar. And I think that's very nice. Kind of be lightly colored. Oh, what's that circle doing in there? Get that circle out of there. Uh, is there it is. Get the circle out of here. Get those circle out of here. There we go. Watching people cook stuff is so good. What's your thoughts on American versus British slash international chocolate? I like American chocolate. I'm a I'm a sucker for sweets and just like rotting your teeth kind of sweetness is really good. I like, I don't know if this is necessarily an international chocolate, but um oh my gosh. It just escaped my mind. Hold on. Is it Ghirardelli? I don't think it's Ghirardelli. The little circle ones, little orbs, the chocolate orbs. Chocolate orbs. Oh, these are the squares. Chocolate orbs. If I search this, Lindor. Yeah, with a soft center, Lindor. Yeah, I really like the Lindor ones because they have that like softness in the center. Sometimes I have trouble with um Swiss chocolate. Can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I have trouble with like the way American chocolate is too hard. Like I usually, if I'm getting chocolate, let it sit and like soften up a little bit, unless it's like a Reese's or something like that, and I just like go for it. But if it's a chocolate bar, you usually let it soften up because it's just otherwise it's just too hard. And like all I taste is how cold it is. When it's just a little warm or like really soft, that's when it is good for me. Brown again. And a really I might as well use white, I guess. Mm-hmm. But in general, I also go for any chocolate. Unless it has nuts in it, then I do not. No, no, no. I'm not like allergic to tree nuts or anything. I just don't like the textures of it. It always bothers me. I'm eating some more spaghetti. I usually agree. Besides Ferrero Rocher, what is? Oh yes, I've seen these before. Yeah, I like that they're hazelnut, but like I would rather that the hazelnut be like mixed into the chocolate, you know, like crushed up and mixed into it, or like even its own kind of cream. Mm-hmm. That would be really good. But I definitely like know what you mean. I think hazelnut is like one of the few mm, kind of nutty flavors that I really like, aside from basic peanut butter. But it has to be smooth peanut butter. So basically Nutella. Not really. I like I like Nutella, but it's a little too. There's something in Nutella that I don't like. I don't know what it is, especially since it's like that perfect mix of like chocolate and hazelnut together. But there's something about the consistency of it that bothers me. I'm kind of a consistency person. Like, if it's too gritty or something like that, if like I can taste something that like feels gritty, then I don't like it. Which is unfortunate because there's some things that I've had where like it tastes really good, and then I get like some kind of like gritty crunch or something, and I'm just like, no, no, no longer like. Understandable though. And I always feel like chocolate and tree nuts go together a lot. Um, unless like someone's allergic to something, but in general, for non-allergen related people who want chocolate, there tends to be more preference for like stuff with nuts in it. I just don't like that. Not for me. What is happening? Hello? Is it doing that? Why is it mixing the white in like that? Oh, interesting. Okay. Learned something new about my brushes, or at least one of them. This needs to be a different color. It needs to be more pink. More pink. More. There we go. Want the pink star. I gotta color the other two triangles too. And I don't always like chocolate cake either. Sometimes if the chocolate is like, I find that a lot of chocolate cakes that I order or something like that tend to be, it can be a bit much. Yeah, sometimes it's too rich, which I don't always mind if I have like something to drink with it, like milk or water. But if it's too, sometimes it's kind of got this burnt taste to it. Like it's like the cake powder almost gets burnt or something like that. And it doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste like chocolate. And it's never like a dry cake that tastes like that. Usually the dry ones are pretty good. Got a nice chocolatiness to them. They're never like too rich. But sometimes there's like chocolate cakes that are just bad. They're not chocolatey. They're not rich in any sense. They're just bad. They taste to me they taste like burnt chocolate. And I don't know if it's like a store-bought thing. I don't know if it's like ordered thing or something. So I often have been leaning away from getting chocolate cake. Unless it's like a chocolate cheesecake. Or like I kind of like the really rich chocolate cakes. Just means that I take more time to eat it. But a lot of the time my favorite kind of cake is yellow cake, which is also very uncommon, at least in America. It's so hard to find anywhere that has yellow cake. It's like I can find rainbow cake, I can find ice cream cake, red velvet, chocolate, marble, whipped cream cakes, fondant cakes, all sorts of cheesecakes. But yellow cake? No, never. Gotta get that store-bought box and make it myself. Let's do this one in green. Um, the one time that I've had yellow cake that hasn't been like homemade was when went to one of those medieval dinner theaters and um we were like sitting there and they were like, the dessert is coming out now, and got cake slices because it was my birthday. And we usually have such a hard time finding yellow cake, but we looked down at the cake that they had passed us, and I was looking at it for a second, and I was like, oh my god, it's yellow cake. It's yellow cake. It's here. They have it. And I don't know if that was like planned, like if they were asked to make it yellow cake or something, but it was yellow cake. And that's the one time like I've ever seen it served outside of our house. Then again, this ice cream cake or ice cream cake, this ice cream that I got the other day, last night, they had yellow cake pieces that they could put inside of it. They didn't actually have any yellow cake that you could buy, which I found weird. I also like tend to like regular vanilla cake. That's probably the closest to yellow cake. Most of the time is just a regular vanilla cake. Um I kind of want to make this one blue. Make the triangles both. Maybe not. Maybe a lighter blue? Hmm? Yeah, that works. Oh no, I should make it purple because the bowl is green. Contrasting colors, you know. Purple? I think it's purple. Nice, nice. There we go. And the Stranger Things one, I suppose, can be orange. The one branded thing on this list, Stranger Things pizza, which I gotta say, good pizza. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. It's good pizza. If it was Steve, if it was Steve, if it was cheese stuffed crust, it would be even better. Do you get? Have you ever had cheese stuffed crust? I feel like I don't see it very often anymore. Like there's maybe one pizza place that has the option to get cheese stuffed crust. I keep wanting to say Steve, just Steve crust. I'm losing it. But I feel like it's not a huge option anymore. It's weird. I feel like it's so good. Oh, I was gonna make this red. Cheesiness. It's good. Merge those together. That together. But I really like, that's part of the reason I think I still really like store-bought pizzas, because they have a lot of um cheese stuffed crust options, which most pizza places just don't have anymore. Probably too difficult. Probably takes too long. Requires too much prep or something. So like places don't offer it. Because most of them are like fast food places, you know? It's one of those things that I wish was a bit more present. And if it was present in the Stranger Things pizza, it would make it the best pizza. It would make it better than any other pizza. What jingle is that? I just did a little jingle from something. Definitely a reference. Oh, is it the Krusty Krab? Krusty Krab. Yeah, Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me. One where they get lost, right? Yeah. It's such a good song. Such a good little song. All the songs in SpongeBob that are just like added in there, very fun. Really like brought together the silly elements of the show. Whenever someone would just like do a little song for no reason, added to it. Let's see. That's looking pretty good. Oh, we are at 3. Nice. Do the lo mein. Let's do the lo mein. Know what that looks like. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. That was very intense. Hold on. Right. I'm alright. It was a very intense sneeze. Did all kinds of things to my throat. Excuse me. Alright. Okay. Whew. That one came out of nowhere too. I didn't even like feel it building up. It just kind of hit me. Oh, my chest kind of hurts now. I didn't make the cheese yellow. I was doing all that setup to make the yellow things yellow, and I didn't even do the cheese. I was gonna do the lo mein. I'm gonna do the lo mein. Starts coloring the pizza. I didn't color the eggs in this either. I'm slacking. Well, we were talking about food. I got distracted by the talk of chocolate. Now I kind of want Lindor. Sounds good. I kind of want chocolate in general, I'll be honest. And when do I not want? Chocolate is good in all cases. Uh, yellow? Yellow. Nice. Okay. And the skewers. Oh, I can show that nice texture that I was talking about earlier. These, I'm pretty sure they weren't called yakitori, but that's essentially what they were. Yakitori skewers. I was talking about it earlier. They had this really nice crisp on the ends of them, where it was obvious, like, after they had flipped it over, it had kept cooking on the edges really well. But it wasn't, like, burnt, which was really nice. It was just well cooked. Let's see if I can get it on there. Pink. Pink. Or even a rosy one. Yeah. Go over that with another brown. And drill marks. That's right. This one? No. That one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I need to add that browning texture in again. Edges. Really dark brown. Yeah. And some grill marks. This one's probably the freshest in my mind because I had it last night and today for lunch. I had some leftovers. It's good. And the pizza. Put it together. The pizza. Use this dough color. There we go. And then rose pink. Should actually. It's pretty good. And then I need to add some golden cooking. Look to it. Because it always browns really well on the crust. Cheese. Like, maybe got a little too much color up there now. Hold on. Hold on. There has to be a way to make that better without, like, taking it out again, right? Oh? Yeah, there we go. Alright. Now the background colors. I don't want anything too intense. I want it airbrush on the edges. Just that by itself. Maybe I won't. Or maybe I will. I will. And this is gonna be straight up purple. Maybe red and white. I feel like making it red and white. White. I'm going in very roughly with this one. Bam, bam. Not an eraser. To erase, put down white instead. Good thing I noticed, otherwise just would have had a bunch of white streaks on there. Actually, I kind of like it with the purple. Purplish blue. Kind of nice. I think I'm done. See. I think here. Feel like it's a risk to take that away now. I'll just merge them all. Going to put nut. Idiot change. Or I could try not too vivid. I think that's too vivid. I think that's too intense. Takes away from the pencil marks. I'm actually going to turn it down even more, though, actually. Really wash it out. Yeah. And I'm going to duplicate my line art layer. Select. Just to make it really stand out. Okay. No, because if I do that, then it's too dark. Matching it dark in most places. That's alright. But I think that's good. Oh my gosh. What pen did I use to draw this? Mechanical pencil. Where is it? Here? Here it is. I guess that's the thing about using new tools. Oh, you can still kind of see it. That's nice. Without the line art. That's very fun. Oh, I kind of like that too. Without the extra fine details. I like the cross hatching. Maybe in black and white. Actually, I think I will leave it without the shape lines. I mean, or I could dye them, make them like color. Try that. Blue. Okay. Oh, I kind of like that, actually. Doesn't look quite correct, but I kind of like it anyways. I like it the way that it stands out. Maybe I will still merge all of the line art together. And then add a color on top of that. And not the red. Maybe the blue. Oh, that's kind of nice. Is there anywhere that doesn't work? The yakitori is probably the place that works the least. Let me try purple. Oh, that's a little nicer. A little more, bit more subtle. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna go with that one. Is that better than... I think it's nicer with it. All right. And I will sign right in the middle. No, I won't. Do it. I'll do it up here. Yeah, that works. All right. That's done. So, I still have time. I'm gonna save this. Don't forget to save. Never forget to save. Excuse me. And I guess I could have left that open. Have a bit of time. Something else I want. Let's doodle. Let's just free doodle. Oh. Last. I guess not an hour. Like 30 minutes. Alright. I mentioned it earlier, but I really enjoyed Maureen's new music video with Gura from Hololive. So I'm thinking I'm gonna draw Maureen. The girls' love vibes were off the charts. I'm gonna try it with this mechanical pencil too, just to like see what it will look like. It's a doodle. We're not getting intense. That's not correct. I'm not even looking at reference. I gotta get reference. Nope. Stop. Doing. What happened? What did I just do? Huh? The heck? I just messed up my tab somehow. Type it correctly. Hello, live. Good job. Gotta be something with this pen. Just the way that it writes. It's Oops. What just happened? No, it is. It is that Clip Studio isn't calibrated correctly. It doesn't have the pen pressure. No, it's fine. I've been drawing without pen pressure this whole time. Oh, that was great. I thought it was a little too harsh. It's fine. I just heard my dog bark. Music was just soft enough that I could hear him outside. Funny. You know what made me think earlier that it didn't have pen pressure? Like the reason I was like checking it at that time was I felt like it wasn't getting the flicks correctly. Like the way that it was not just like the jitteriness that it had. Obviously, if I zoom in and it doesn't have it, but like that jitter right there. Um, that's part of it that was making me think, oh, maybe it doesn't have the pen pressure correctly. There's also like this like flick I have that any artist can really have, where like even if it didn't have total pen pressure options, it would still like taper off at the end because of the density options, which it doesn't have because Clip Studio did not load correctly. That's alright. Sometimes technical difficulties make for more interesting drawings. I don't like that one. I would highly recommend, by the way, checking out the 3D concert that Maureen just put out. Very fun. Great music. Great city pop style stuff in there. Not all of it is city pop. Some of it's just like general Showa era. But the presentation is also very funny. Very cute. I keep drawing this part too low. Button. Hit. It has like frills coming out, right? Something like that. Eye patch. There. Nope. There we go. Did I finish talking about the EVE Online video? That was very fun. I really liked uh that it had kind of a dramaticism to it. It was just like people playing a starship game online. Like that it got kind of intense. I also think it was very funny the way, like, at the end of every pretty much climactic event, he would go, and everything was about to change. Essentially, he didn't say it in that exact wording, but like it was like, and the world of EVE Online would be changed forever. An event was about to happen that would change the course of EVE Online forever. It would make it change so much it was unrecognizable. It would it would set it into its next era. I thought that was very funny. It was like it just kept on going. It just kept on going. Just kept on going. It felt like a conclusion kind of sentence, but the video didn't end with it. It made it feel silly in a good way. It was very fun. Even though I don't have any pen pressure, I feel like this is pretty good. It's like drawing in MS Paint. That's what it is. There's a certain smoothness to drawing in like um programs like Clip Studio and Paint Tool and Photoshop. Um, that takes away from like speed at which someone can work, or like the cleanliness, I guess, like the line quality. And that's essentially what happens when like the program loses the pen pressure like it is for this. It becomes like MS Paint, where in line for in exchange for the speed and like efficiency of it, it gives up some quality aspects. I'm surprised I didn't notice like that the pen pressure was off when I was doing the coloring. I feel like that would really mess with that. It was so washed. But maybe it did mess with it and I just didn't realize. That's a skirt. A pleated skirt. Uh, Hold on, I had to start from the body. This goes to here, actually. I'll have her standing. No reason to. Just doodling. There we go. Hold on. There we go. Whoops. Um, there we go. Don't think actually there. And repeat. Get that. Do something so nice. With no pen pressure. It just really gets to me that I did that entire thing without any pen pressure. I don't know which icon. Hmm, hmm. Like it. One more. Let's do someone. Like no. Mm. Sorry, looking at stuff. Right. I am trying to find something else to doodle. I don't think I have anything else. Um, yeah, I was thinking. I messed up my schedule yesterday. One that I posted. The one today is correct, and I included next Sunday on the schedule as well because I am going to be structuring the schedules, especially in December. Like, it's gonna look entirely different. I'm not going to be like spelling out everything that I planning on doing in the future. I'm just gonna have the dates. That way I can focus on like doing drawings for longer periods of time without feeling like we haven't switched it up lately or something like that. Or allowing some spontaneity, like if I end up needing to only stream for 2 hours because I have to go do something or something like that, then I want to be able to do that. I'm gonna switch screens. So next week, um, my schedule will look. It'll have the same current format, but it'll start with Mondays and then go Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the Sunday that week instead of starting with Sunday. Um, because it'll just be a little bit easier when I'm looking at my schedule. At least for a little bit till the end of November, and then in December, just gonna put out like monthly calendar dates. Um, Especially since I expect to be tweeting or like posting on Tumblr when I'm going live, and it allows me the freedom to like change things if I need to. You know, um, yeah, that's all for today. Um, Tuesday, we will probably be finishing the drawings that I was doing for the video. Um, or drawing more food. Actually, no, because I finished drawing the food today. So we'll probably be doing the video animations. Probably gonna be animating it. And then Wednesday we'll do some dress up. And hopefully, Friday, Saturday, one of those 2 days. Hopefully. Hopefully, I'll be posting the video on Slice of Life stuff. Please look forward to it. I'm really hoping that like I don't expect a big like reaction to it, but hoping it's like a decent step into me doing other stuff, you know? Having something more close to the blog posts, but also like video formatted, you know? Taking some time to like hear the words come out of my mouth directly, you know? Not just read. So that's gonna be all for today. I hope you have a good day, whether it's tomorrow or today. And goodbye. Goodbye.